Hello, and welcome to a new episode of Beyond an Issue. I'm your host, Zion, and today I'm here with Professor Maynard Scales. Mr. Scales graduated from Norfolk State in 1997, then came back to teach here at his alma mater. Today we'll get into his journey and before and after graduation. How you doing today?
I'm excellent. How are you?
I'm blessed. I'm always blessed.
Good.
So let's really get into it. How did you get to NSU? Where are you from?
So I grew up between Wilmington, Delaware, and South Philadelphia. You know, my mother and my grandparents, and that kind of thing. And I originally went to Delaware State my first year of school.
Oh, so you didn't even come here at first. You
First
didn't
year
even
of school, I
choose to
did.
behold. No, I'm messing with
First year of school, I did. And I went to go play football there. And
everybody trying to be football stars. No, I'm messing with you.
well, I actually found out that I wasn't. And the scholarship was like, and I, I was a knucklehead. So I took some time off, and I eventually found Norfolk State University, and I chose the university. And I should say it chose me as well. So, and once I became a Spartan, that was it.
Okay, so what really changed your mind from going from the freshman year to, switching?
So I came here. It was something about Norfolk State that was just calling me, and a lot of things I just didn't know. When I was dating a young lady at the time, and we like, let's go on vacation for the weekend, and we drove, and we got lost, and I got right off here at exit 12 at Norfolk State University. I was like, okay, I heard of this place. I know a few people. And I got back, and I was watching TV, and Norfolk State was playing a game on BET. I was like, okay, that's another reason that this has come up again. And then a friend of mine was like, you should, if you think about going back to school, you should look at Norfolk State. And so, it all kind of, the world was pushing me. The universe was drawing me here. So it happened, and it was for the best.
Okay, so when you got here, what was the first thing that you really set stone on? What did you come
That's
here?
a good question. I remember I came here on August 23rd that year, 1992. On August 26th, which would have been the following Monday, I came to WNSB, the radio station, and I was like, I don't know exactly what this is about, but I want to be here, and I want to be where this action is. And so I began working at the radio station almost immediately. I knew I was on a mission, right? I had sat out of school for 3 years. So I was like, I got to hurry up and graduate. The people that I went to high school with are now graduating from college, and I'm starting over fresh. So I was on a mission when I came here.
Mission. I love it. So from coming here, knowing what you wanted to do, what got you really into like pictures and videos and radio stations, and what drove
me to that was I knew what I wanted to do. First, I'll say this. Those 3 years before I came back to college,
Okay.
I worked at this law firm as like a runner. Like I delivered mail around the city. And you heard me say I'm, South Philadelphia. So when wintertime came,
Right.
and it was 23 inches of snow on the ground, they were like, I'm sorry for your luck, but you still got to take this 16 blocks up the street. And I just knew like, I don't know what them cats do in the big fancy offices, but I want some of that. I don't want to be out here delivering mail in the snow. There's nothing wrong with it,
At all.
but it wasn't for me. So I knew I needed to get a degree. I needed to become educated and be able to put myself in better positions. And B, I just knew, in my mind, I was like, well, Spike Lee hiring or something. I don't know, but I'm not going to, waste my time any longer in life. So whatever I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go after with reckless abandon.
Wow. So it was just a switch, kind of like you seeing maybe your high school, people graduating before you in college. It was just all came in one.
Yeah, watching my friends come and go through college and talk about the amazing jobs that they were doing. And also, I was seeing the same people. Like I was a college student. Those 3 years I was out of school, I was a student that just wasn't in college.
Right.
And so what kept happening is everybody came home in May, and I was like, okay, these are my people. This is my tribe. And then they all went back to school in late August, September. And then so for the rest of those months, I was around non-college students, like, you know, the guys from high school who probably weren't going to try to make as much of their lives as they could. The girls from high school who, you know, I remember at one point I was like, I'm just going to wind up finding a girl who has 2 kids, and that's what I'm gonna be with. That's who I'm, because I didn't have anyone else in my circle who could show me that there was something else out here. So, you know, that's not to begrudge anybody else for the lives that they chose, but that wasn't the life for me.
Okay, so when you set stone on Norfolk State, what was some of the things that you know you wanted to do exactly? Like,
I wanted to
some
make
projects?
movies. I wanted to be on the radio. I wanted to make movies. I wanted to do television shows, etc. And I'll tell you this crazy story. In fact, I had a work study boss who just, you know, recently retired from the university. His name is O.B. Smith. And I told him, I said, oh, you know, my girlfriend's going to Clark Atlanta. I want to, can you help me transfer? And he said, I'm not doing that. If you want to find a woman, go out here to 4,000 women on this campus. You're not going to transfer to Clark Atlanta over a girl.
Okay.
Then he said, I'm going to give you an opportunity to produce a TV show. And, you know, between the radio internship I had at a radio station in the market and what he was offering me, I wound up producing a TV show called Urban Beat. We kind of created that, you know, from the bottom up.
Urban Beat.
It was a music video show.
All right, so tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah.
How did that all transpire? As a music video show, you said?
Yeah. So right here on the campus, what happened is when we went home in the winter, the university had installed cable on campus. When I came back in the spring, then we had the opportunity to produce this show that would be on campus. So, you know, we had a half-hour video show that turned into an hour video show that turned into us producing shows like we did our own Showtime at the Apollo in the Student Center. We did The Dating Game. We did a bunch of TV shows that we produced, and because that's all I wanted to do, and that's what we did. It just took initiative.
Okay, so you were able to use that, take that, and then go where with it? What was the next plan?
Well, you know, I started working professionally in radio in this market. Ultimately, I wound up taking a job in Chicago with a company called Arbitron. They're kind of like Nielsen at that time. In fact, Nielsen, the television ratings organization, purchased my previous employer, Arbitron. I wound up running a radio station on the south side of Chicago, which Chicago is the 3rd largest market in the country. And then ultimately, I wound up with Radio 1 in Detroit as the GSM of 3 stations there. So I had a urban AC and a gospel that I ran, and ultimately decided to come back to Hampton Roads and worked in television in this market as a television operations manager, and ultimately came back to Norfolk State to be the general manager of the radio station.
Oh, wow. So you left Detroit, left Chicago, and what really brought you back to Norfolk State?
It's cold there. It's quite honest. It's very cold.
I believe it. I believe it. Anything besides the weather that really brought you back to put your knowledge into the students?
You know, an opportunity had opened up with the university. I wanted to pursue it. I did for a time, and then I took a job somewhere else, and then ultimately wound up coming back to the university just a year ago. But as a result of being able to travel and then and find a lot of things in the industry, I knew that there were things that I had learned that were going to be valuable to bring back to the university and share with students like yourself.
Love it. We love it. So knowledge, everything that you've gotten from the radio station and your experience, could you say you've maybe mastered it at this point, or maybe you've gotten to a point where it's became like second nature to you?
No, I don't think, I think there's always more to learn. If I could say what it is that, like I kind of understand the function. That's easy. We get that part. We're supposed to run a radio station, for
Right.
instance. But there are these intricacies on how to operate a business. And so you have to be able to, learn with that. And every day there's something new. But I would say, you got to just be hungry.
Hungry. I love it. I'm hungry too.
Right.
Well, unfortunately, this is all the time we have today. I want to thank you, Mr. Scales, for being here with us today, and I want to thank you all for watching. I'm your host, Zion. I will see you next time for another episode of Beyond an Issue.